Hey guys, I'm back again. I had so much fun with the spoon video. I just uploaded it this morning. I had no idea if anybody else is going to like it, but I had so much fun with it that I thought I'd do another video. I was at work yesterday, and the lady that I was working for, I was doing her roof, had some trees trimmed. Now I cut a lot of firewood myself, but usually when I cut firewood, I always cut dry stuff. So I never really get a chance to get too much green stuff. Once in a while, but not all the time. So I ended up saving some of the stuff the guy was trimming off the trees. And this is cherry wood. And I got a bunch of it, but this is just one piece of it. And what I thought we would do is make a kuksa today. And it's not going to be a how-to video. It's just going to be me making a kuksa, and that's that. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out about how big of a piece I want off this. This is about a 4-inch diameter piece of wood, and I will probably cut off, whatever size I want it to be. It's going to be a small kuksa. I'm not trying for a really large one. I've done them before where I do try to make them really nice and big, and they end up being bowls more than they do cups. This is just going to be a nice small one, and we're going to work it green as almost all the way down to finish, and then we'll just work it. So let me go ahead and shut the camera off, and I will go ahead and cut this to a length that I think I want it to be. I'm gonna have to do a little measuring because I'm really not sure how big I want it to be. I might end up making a kuksa that has an oblong looking cup thing to it, just for something to do, something different. But and maybe just a traditional like beaver tail type sweep handle. I don't know, but anyways, let me cut a piece of this off and I'll get back with you. Okay guys, I'm back. The first thing I did was I got this piece of wood and I made a cut on this end. Well, since I know that this is going to be a kuksa and it's ended up going to be rounded anyways, I went ahead and made my cut at an angle. And you can use any kind of wood saw you want for it. This is just a cheapo wood saw, which I'm going to get a Baco here pretty soon, because these are nice saws, but I kind of want one that's kind of a proven reliable one. But that being said, this little cheap one has done a real good job for me, and I usually use this on like spoons and stuff, and it works real well. It's fine, it's all steel, so it's not gonna like fall apart on me or nothing. But what I use to cut this with is just a little bow saw, and this has got like a little 12-inch blade in it. If you get yourself a chance to pick one of these up, pick one up, because even if you don't like the blade that's in it, you can always use the frame and buy a different blade for it. I'm sure Baco probably makes 12-inch blades or 13-inch blades, whatever this is, that would fit this, and you'd be fine. This was like a $4 bow saw I picked up at a thrift store, and it's been working out okay. I mean, if one of these popper bits or something would happen to break, I could always put a nut and a bolt in it, so it doesn't really scare me that way. It's just the frame itself that I really bought it for. The blade's sharp and it works good, but if I decide to change the blade, I might go ahead and get a Baco blade for it. But anyways, these are great for little woodworking projects that you're doing out in the bush or around home. I mean, you could I got a plastic cover that goes over the blade. Put the cover on it, and you could stick it to the back of your pack, and it's there if you need it. And it doesn't really take up all that much more room than this one really in the pack. And this one's probably a little more versatile. Anyway, so enough about saws. So I made the first cut right here. Now the second thing I'm going to do is, and I think I have one around here somewhere, is I'm basically just going to take a pencil, and I know that this is going to be the top of my kuksa. So I'm just going to roughly, and this is not a pattern, this is just me trying to figure out basically what I want to make, what I want the cup to look like from the top down. And this is just a rough thing, you know, because we could change it up. And all this is doing basically is just giving me an idea of like a length that I would want to make this cup. And I'm figuring somewhere around right here is where I'm going to cut it. And then I will flatten up this top side, and then we'll draw a nice design into this, and then we'll go ahead and we'll carve it out all the way around the edge like you would a spoon, and then we'll flip it up and we'll start rounding out the back of the bowl side. But and then the last thing we'll do is carve out the bowl itself, which I kind of like doing that anyways. It's kind of a fun process. But anyway, so let me go ahead and make a second cut in this piece of wood right here, and that actually leaves us enough to make another one if we wanted to. So, and actually it's just a little short, so maybe I'll just split it right down the middle, and then I know we'll have plenty for it. So I will go ahead and cut that thing off right there. I'm gonna go put this in the vise and cut it off there. I'm not gonna try to cut it on this log. So let me cut that off and I'll be back. Okay, so now we have our piece of wood cut. Next thing I'm going to do is, you're going to see me do a lot of flipping around because I'm not going to take a chance of trying to cut up here with my axe and have my fingers up here, and you don't want to chop fingers off, let's put it that way. I got a little cut on my thumb already from a small accident, you know, that could have been a bad one. You know, it was a stupid mistake. I was splitting kindling the same way I split kindling all the time. Well, I had a piece of dry wood, and really all I did was I took my axe and I put it up on top of here like this, and I was holding it like that, and I just do that just to start the axe into the wood. Well, I did that, and the wood was so dry that it popped right apart. I mean, it was barely any pressure at all, and the axe come down and it just skinned my thumb. So you got to be very careful with the axe, and you know, just be safe, that's all. So anyways, next thing we're going to do is this side here is going to be my top. So I'm just going to skin it. Probably take maybe an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch off this side. And to do that, I have several axes here. Some of them are dedicated carving axes, like this one is a dedicated carving axe, which I have a video going out for this one because it's a modified Kent pattern axe. And you're gonna see me use several different axes in this thing just because I'm just using them just to use them. I haven't used this axe yet, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and play around with this one. This is an old Swedish pattern axe, and it's razor sharp, and this is the one we're going to use for right now. But anyways, so let me go ahead and pause this for a second, and I'll get set up and we'll go ahead and do this. Okay, another thing, this wood is green. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but anyways, so what I do is I usually start, you know, somewhere in the middle. And this is cherry, so it's soft. a nice axe. This is going to take a little getting used to, though. Not really used to this. It's actually kind of a heavy axe for the size, and you got to be careful because you don't really have to put a whole lot of pressure behind it. It's razor sharp too, so that kind of helps. Anyways, I'm just kind of looking along this thing, making sure I get everything sort of square with the top of it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one away for a little bit, go to one with a little shorter handle, and maybe we'll come back to this one a little later. So let me come, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this axe out. It's got a little wider blade, and I was just kind of using it just to sort of hew this flat a little better. It's pretty close to where I want it. For some reason it's a little got a little twist going on in it. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but we will work it. Okay, so that's probably good enough to at least put our drawing on it. So the next thing you want to do is put the axe aside, get your pencil out, and just kind of get an idea of what you want to do with it, you know, as far as design. For me, I was kind of hoping to go with something, a little bit on the oblong sort of thing. Just because, why not? Maybe something, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Probably not. I need to turn that camera around a little bit. Let me finish drawing this out, get some kind of pattern on here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I rough drew something in there that I kind of wanted. I may end up making this a little bigger this way or something, or making the handle design a little bit different, but this gives me an idea as to what I want to do. I know that I want to take this big chunk out of here and this big chunk out of here, around these corners off and stuff like that. And it just gives you an idea where to go, and I've already got some of the stock removed this way. So I know I'm going to want to, depending on what I want to do with that handle, you know, I may not want to take as much stock out of the bottom of here, but I know I'm going to have to take quite a bit out of it. So the next thing we're going to do is just keep on trucking with the axe. And I've actually am going to, I don't know if it or not, I'm going to have to actually do something different with the camera because I don't feel comfortable curving up on top of that stump like that. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and get something else to put this camera on so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I will be right back. So enough talking on this video. I'm just gonna do a little carving, and like I said, this isn't really a how-to. This is just me doing it. So. This axe is so sharp, I got to be careful with it because it really wants to dig into the wood, and sometimes I don't want it to dig in quite that far. So, you know, it is what it is. You just got to kind of be careful with it. And I'm not real used to it yet, so it is what it is. This thing's really heavy. You know, you just gotta take your time with it. And this cherry is very, very green. I didn't think it would be quite this green. Like I said, the most important thing you do is keep your fingers out of the way. I could make this whole process a lot easier just by putting some saw cuts in it, but I really like playing around with the axe. I think the axe work is probably 90% of the fun. At some point, I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do for sides too. When I'm doing this axe work, I'm working on the outside of my stump. That way, if I do miss, I'm going into the stump. If I'm working back here and I miss, I could go right into my leg or hit myself in the private parts or something, you know. So I'm always working out here because it's safer. And anyways, let me go ahead and work this thing down to my lines a little bit, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, so kind of got a rough shape out. I got to cut some more out of here, obviously, stuff like that. But I need to, I'm going to go ahead and make another saw cut right here at an angle, and cut some and get some of this out in one big chunk, because I don't really need to sit here and whittle, you know, because this is the handle right here. I don't need to whittle all this stock out when I can make a saw cut in here at an angle and then just split that off. So that'll be the next thing. I will figure out, I'll put a design on the side of this thing and figure out what I want to do with the handle, and then go ahead and make a saw cut and split the handle area out. So let me go ahead and get a pencil, and I want to play around with some designs on here. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but on this is going to go around here like this and down, and then the handle itself is going to come out around here like this and back up. So basically, I'm going to make a cut in about right here at an angle, and then end it just below where I want my handle to stop, and that'll take care of this big chunk of stock right here. So let me go ahead and get the saw out, and I will go ahead and do that, and then we can start splitting this chunk out. Something like that. So let me make a saw cut on here, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so I went ahead and I split that out, and now I got a whole bunch of stock still to remove. I'm going to go ahead and cut it one more time and split it just a little bit more out, but at this point I got to start thinking about rounding this bowl out too at the same time. So I will get to going on that. So let me pause that for a second. Okay, so at this point it's just a matter of making a few saw cuts here and there. I'll use this little saw for that, just to split out the rest of the stuff that we want to get rid of. And it won't be much, and then I'll be down to almost hand carving again. Let me go ahead and cut that with the other saw, and I will show you where I'm at here in a second. Okay, so I laid the last of the cuts. Now all I gotta do is split this stuff off, and we just do that real gently. Without getting our fingers cut off. It should split relatively easily. Fingers out of there. Should be able to just tap that. It should pop right off there. Careful, I don't want it to go too far in. And we'll split just a little bit off this edge. And just a smidgen more off the back of this too. It's a little tricky here. Okay, let's okay, let me go ahead and this thing's not breaking off quite all the way. I think my saw cut has to be just a smidgen deeper. Let me go ahead and do that real quick, and I'll be back.